Hello, sewing friends. My name is Ramona. Thank you for visiting the Sew TurboPurr channel, where we talk all things sewing, crafting, and cats. Today, I'm going to show you a different method for tracing a pattern. I love to do this. It is fast, easy, and fun. These are the supplies that I use. The roll of plain paper that I use, I purchase from a big box store. I'll put a link to supplies in the description box. My roll of plain paper is 24 inches wide by about 75 feet long. The big box stores sometimes label this as banner paper rolls or poster paper rolls. The tracing wheel is a different type of wheel. It has edges that feel kind of like the edge of a pen. I'll show you a close-up a little bit later, and there will be links in the description box to where to purchase these. I purchased mine from the French European company at Expo. I've also seen similar items like this on Amazon. The other things that you will need is markers of your choice and rulers and curves and straight edges. Rotary cutting mats. It's very important to have a mat with a firm surface, and the rotary cutting mats are perfect for this. And any sort of paperweights of your choice. In this method, we layer the paper on top of the cutting mat. The top layer is the pattern you want to trace, and the blank paper is below that, and then the cutting mat on the bottom. We use pattern weights or paper weights, or you can use tape to keep the paper from shifting. I use DIY paper weights. These are hardware store washers, and I keep them in an empty tea tin. Very handy to use. They're heavy. They hold the paper down really well. This is a close-up of the tool that I use, the tracing wheel. This is a different type of tracing wheel. It's not so common as the other kind that are used for pattern tracing. This type has little cone-shaped or spiked edges, and the edges are like a pin, and so when you roll it, it makes little pinholes through the layers of the paper. It's a whole lot faster using this method than to use some of the other methods. I find that it's accurate, and the only downside, if you will, about it is if you don't want holes in your pattern paper, then you'll want to use another method, because this method will create pinholes in both your original pattern and then the blank paper that you're using to trace the pattern onto. So here is the pattern that I'm using. This is from a Berta magazine. I'm a subscriber. And with these patterns, there are many pattern pieces for many garments that are printed on a single sheet. They're color-coded. So you find the color-coded pattern that you want to trace, and then layer the blank paper beneath it and trace through to get your pattern. And that way you still have your original pattern on the top and you can use it again. This method, of course, would work with any type of pattern that you have that you wanted to trace. And this is a close-up of how I'm doing it. I am rolling the tool away from my body and tracing the line for the size that I need. I'm tracing a sleeve here. And you can see that the pinholes that have been made with the tracing wheel are shown on the blank paper that is layered beneath the pattern. I've showing you a close-up of this. I was not holding the tool extremely straight. When you trace your pattern, you can obviously, hold it against a ruler if you want to get straight lines. But since we will be using a ruler when drawing the lines, it's okay if there's a little bit of variation here. So here are the holes in the blank paper. This is my pattern that's been traced, and the next step is going to be collecting the dots with a marker. So here I'm connecting the dots using a fine point marker. I use a French curve ruler. This is a sleeve pattern, and so I'm using my French curve ruler to get a nice smooth curve when I'm connecting these dots. Remember to draw out all of your pattern markings. With Berta patterns and other patterns, the grain lines are marked. Berta also numbers the seams. There's often other pattern markings that need to be traced, so make sure that you get everything traced so you'll have an accurate pattern. And here is the finished sleeve pattern with all the markings and labeled. And I would like to thank you for watching. Happy sewing. I hope that you have found this video to be entertaining. And I'd love to hear in your comments what you are working on in your sewing room. Thanks for watching.